welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining our live today. My name is Akashni and I'm joined by Kishen, and Kishen is a podcaster. He has a podcast called Buddha Knows 24, which we're going to talk a little bit about what the meaning is behind that. I'd love to know. I haven't asked him the question before myself, so I'm keen to also find out. And my name is Akashni, aka the Arcana Rebel, and I'll tell you a bit about my brand. This is my T-shirt. I'm selling this T-shirt, so I'd love for you all to see it.
So my name is Kishen, originally from Johannesburg, South Africa, Asia, actually. Born and bred, 35 years upbringing. That's what I knew. And avid sports person, very active, always on the field, never indoors. Very active child, and but also had the passion for helping people on the other side as well. Never knew about it until it became a purpose about a year back. Oh well, 5 years back. I kind of realized, okay, this is my calling, and that's where I started to begin to playing with the idea of sharing my journey of going through a bit of anxiety and depression, to get it out to the broader public, and just trying to help people who are like me, not known to the world or public space, in terms of scope and vision. But I think going through this journey, I've learned so much about how many of my brothers and sisters who are actually just needing of the help right now. And so why Buddha Knows is, so my nickname growing up was Buddha. My aunt actually gave me the name because when I was born, I was a bit hefty. I was a bit like the Michelin Man. I had rolls everywhere. So yeah, so that's where the name was born. And I was sitting on the bed, and she walked across, and hey, it looks like Buddha, like a Buddha, and that's how it stuck. Yeah, I've carried that name with me throughout my life, and I think it's kind of like my brand now in terms of what I represent in life. And I think it's just fitting of how my personality is, being on the Zen side and on the living in the present moment right now. Hence why the podcast also I named it Zen and Now, because I took the notion of then and Zen, but in terms of staying Zen and living in the present now. So Zen and Now was born that way. I played around with the name, and I actually put out like a focus group on a couple of names, and people were like, "Yeah, go for it. That's awesome." And it's stuck. I think now it's growing in stature, and that's why the name. All my handles are. You'll probably see Buddha or 24. 24 is my birthday, 24th of April. So hence why the number 24 comes into play, and that's why they kind of two mesh together, and that's how it was born.
That's fantastic. One thing that I noticed about you immediately that's always stands out in my mind is just how many people you've actually connected with on your podcast. And when you actually contacted me, I was excited to do the topic that you wanted to speak about. But then when I went to your YouTube channel, that actually like took a really it gave me a lot of insights into just like who you are. And you say that you have this passion for helping people, and that does come across in a lot of your posts. I think I saw a post on Instagram one day about, you're talking about the plight of young men and, and the things that they face and not being able to speak about emotions. What do you feel is like a really pertinent topic for you that, in terms of helping people, what is it that you really want to help people with regards to, and you feel like is a real challenge that society is facing?
Authenticity. I kind of mentioned this quite a lot. And I think a lot of us are still living within ourselves, not living our authentic selves, due to pressure from family or society, cultural differences, whatever it may be. And I feel we just need to be able to be ourselves openly and honestly. And I think that's when the doors start to unlock for you. That's how it felt for me, because when I didn't have, to be honest, it wasn't a very difficult upbringing. I had all the luxuries in life. I had all the support. I mean, my parents did the best that they could with what they had, and gave us a very comfortable life. Right? I never had to work after school or anything to fend for myself. My dad was pretty generous in that way. He made sure we all got through varsity, and we never had to worry about finances. So I'm grateful and always thankful for all of that. And but this also on the underlying other side of that is uh, within our cultural environments, especially coming from a brown community, I still felt, just observing how afraid my fellow brothers are to express themselves. Hence why I actually made a, a gesture to my friend yesterday. We were on a call, and like, you'll notice I have a lot more females on my podcast. Not a lot of men still at that stage where they want to talk about their experiences. There's a very small number of people or men who actually are at that stage right now where they want to say, this is not working for me and I feel vulnerable in this space, or this was my journey. Hence why there's a lot more female, because you guys are a bit more in touch with your emotions, and you deal with adversity much more quicker than we do. So, but there's still a lot of groundwork to do, and I think just by starting, it was never going to be perfect, but just by starting this journey, I've already seen the progression and the wheel starting to turn for a lot of my fellow brothers and sisters, and whoever it may be, just to start to begin to think. When you say you plant a seed,
Yeah.
or you plant the idea in somebody's head, it doesn't have to take off, it doesn't have to manifest anything, but it's there within your makeup, and then it starts to, like, now you start to then reflect, hey, maybe I start to think about my childhood, or I start to think about things that I've gone through in my life and how it shaped me, who I am right now. Hence why I still feel like we need to get a lot more aggressive in that way of just allowing people to say how I feel is okay, and not feel ostracized or feel like they're going to be saying something that's going to hurt a family member or a friend or whatever it is, because the truth always, yeah, it hurts. Truth hurts, but it's something that we all need to accept at times. And I myself was in a place where I never really wanted to hear the truth at times, because it made me look bad or feel bad, and I always rebelled against it or pushed against it, and not in a healthy way of communication, and did went and did things on my own and made a lot of mistakes. Hence why I say it's okay to hear the truth at times, because it just allows you to grow, and it's not a failure on your part. It's just somebody seeing it from an objective point of view.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I absolutely think that. And the stuff that you were talking about is absolutely true. Like, one thing that really resonates is that people feel the fear of being ostracized for something. They feel the fear, the stigma surrounding, being able to talk about their emotions really deeply. And I think it might actually even be a cultural thing too. But, growing up, I also grew up with a single mother-led household, and I lived with my grand for most of the time as well. And these are very strong women. They're very strong. Talking about emotions is also not really a comfortable thing for those types of women, who are needing to do everything. So they become less softer to survive in the world, so to speak. And so they make you that way, and it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary if you want to, especially if you're a girl child growing up in that kind of household, and you want to make it in the world. But it's still a thing for both men and women like that specifically, who are particularly strong, that they struggle to talk about emotions. Do you feel that it is a cultural thing also, and have you seen that growing up in your particular community?
I think it's a general, broader issue, not just from our own culture perspective. I think it's worldwide. I don't think it's just stemmed or narrowed down to culture. I mean, we're living now, growing up in South Africa, we also grew up multicultural, and coming to Toronto, it's also multicultural and multifaceted. And just listening to people from all over the world, maybe it be the Middle East or Asia or America or South America, we all have a common denominator in that it's somewhere bedded within cultures where sometimes it's not allowed, or it's not seen as strength to speak about your feelings. So I don't think it's just narrowed down to cultural. Yeah, we're just speaking from our perspective because we grow up. And just a disclaimer: these are not these are all my objective views, and not to I'm not taking context out of anybody's life or something that I've seen, but these are just my observations. So I just want to put that out there as well. It's just something that I've seen. I think it's a broader perspective and a worldwide issue that a lot more people are facing now and coming to terms with as well.
Yeah. It's an issue about safety too. It's like, do you feel
Mhm.
safe to be able to talk about it? In our previous episode where we spoke about all of the stuff, something that really came across is that, do we actually feel safe to talk about
Mm.
this sort of stuff, or do we, need to shy away because we feel like maybe people are going to talk behind our backs, or they're going to gossip about us or cause some sort of damaging thing. And so the safety aspect is, I feel like, really lacking, in being able to talk about that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you've
What's
ever watched a movie called What Would People Think or What Would People Say? It's
I
kind of like,
haven't. Yeah.
yeah, it's if you do get a chance, I think it was a Cannes film festival film. It's based on a brown girl growing up in Nordic in the Nordic regions of, I think, Norway, or Iceland, so one of those Nordic regions,
Yeah.
and culturally, uh, obviously but they're outsiders basically because they don't fit the norm of that cultural society.
Yeah.
And she grew up in that environment. She only knows how to live as a as a Nordic person, but her family comes from Pakistan.
Yeah.
And when she starts rebelling against or not going against the wishes of the family, then the community comes together. Oh, what would people say? What would people think? A, B, and C. So that's where it comes back to, is we shouldn't be afraid, like you said, the safety aspect of saying what we want to say and how we feel, not in an aggressive way or disrespectful way. There's ways of we can communicate how we feel very politely and still get our message across. But I think
Yeah.
some of us go through so many events in our lives where we don't deal with it at source, and then it
Yeah.
festers and it
Yeah.
manifests. It keeps going and going, and it keeps building up inside of you. That's when you're not dealing with it in a healthy way, and it bursts, which what happened to me. I kind of
Yeah.
kept everything inside, thinking about everybody else but myself.
Yeah.
How would this affect this person? How would it affect that person? Not knowing that, how is it making me feel right now,
Yeah.
long term. So that's why I feel like you mentioned a very important point: safety. Do we feel safe coming or going forward to our parents or going to anybody that we feel safe with, to say, hey, I'm struggling, I'm not feeling okay today, I don't have it all together, and probably perhaps I need some help.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I need some help. That's really powerful. Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah. Tell me, so you mentioned the topic of depression, and it's something that you've obviously, been through in your life.
mhm.
Is it okay to talk about that here, or do you wanna? Is that comfortable to
Oh
speak
yeah, no,
about?
I'm very much open to talk about that because I feel it's an important part of my life, and I've gotten to a stage now where I'm comfortable with expressing what that journey was like for me, because I know so many of my fellow friends and have taken their own lives because of
Yeah.
such a pandemic, and it needs to be spoken about. And I'm not going to shy away and say, hey, it's something that's taboo and we shouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's more about strength than anything else, and giving somebody else the chance to say, hey, I'm going through exactly the same thing, and what can I do now to help?
Yeah. Yeah. So, how did you get through that period in your life, and when did that take place?
So I think the majority of the event was happened between 2018 2019.
Hmm.
uh, Kind of made a lot of mistakes within my marriage, transgressions, things like that, because I think I was searching for love outside of my marriage, but it was always there, and no fault of anybody, my wife or anybody else. And I never knew what love looked like, in terms of what a healthy loving relationship looked like, because within my own family dynamics, things weren't great as well. And so I took a lot of those. What I saw I thought was normal,
Mm.
and I then brought that into my relationships, and never dealt with it, never went to a professional and said, hey, look, this is what I'm feeling. What can I do? So I kind of like stepped out of bounds in a way to and made the mistake and then realized, oh crap, this happened. And I kind of lost it from there. I didn't know what to do. I was really all over the place, and gradually it started to become worse and worse because you start to lie, you start to like fathom a story, make up something, and
Yeah.
it tends to go in a loop, right? So hence what I talk about the loop of just stopping something at source. And then fast forward to 2019, I think by May 2019, I reached a point where I had lost so much of weight. I wasn't doing the things that I normally do. I wasn't waking up early. I wasn't being active. Uh, my work life suffered. I was having panic attacks at work because I was always thinking of the worst outcome and not dealing with my own issues at the source and just speaking the truth. And eventually, my my aunt actually advised me to go and see a psychotherapist, and I did. Uh, you know, she's not the greatest of therapists, but at that time she mentioned to me that you need like to be institutionalized.
Yeah.
And in that moment, like at that visit, I was already booked in, into the institution, and for that was it. I made my way to the institution and was admitted. Didn't know what I was doing, why I was doing it, but I knew I had to be there, and I knew that was something that I needed at the time because if I would continue to go down the path of what I was doing, I
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be here right now. That's how it.
How did you take to that though? When they said that to you, like how did you have certain resistance there, or did you accept that?
No, I
Like
accepted it. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
accepted it,
yeah,
and in the beginning, it was a surreal moment because I know a lot of people see what a mental institution is like in from the outside, and but from my own perspective, I think I was in a very uh, educational environment.
yeah,
I would put it that way, to be honest.
yeah,
And to be honest, yeah, it gave me so much of hope. Honestly, it wasn't a
yeah,
dying situation because, like you said, I saw so many people in that environment where they were not great. People have lost loved ones and just don't know how to cope, or
yeah,
people coming back, or repeat. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? They actually like they kind of repeat their actions and they keep coming back, so they're not learning from that environment.
yeah.
And
Sort of relapsing and
yeah, exactly. The relapsing coming back. And for me, it was okay, I'm here now. Start to put in the work. You've got
yeah,
time for yourself. There's no outside noise. Just focus on yourself. Yeah, the first 2 days were a bit rough because I felt like, why am I here? I'm asking the question, why am I here? And you share a room with three other people going through some similar issues with you. Yeah. So I'll take you to just a day to day of that, like how it looks like from morning. So 5 a.m. The nurses come around, they take your blood pressure just to make sure everything's okay, and then 6:30 you wake up, you go for exercise because it's mandatory, it's non-negotiable. Everybody has to do that to get the
yeah,
good feeling factors, and endorphins running through your body. After
yeah,
that, you have breakfast, and then you start because each person will have a customer or a set program that they need to attend to, depending on what you're there for.
yeah,
And I took to that, sat there, kind of like listen to the professionals come in and talk about certain scenarios. Obviously, you don't take everything that they say because you only take what is
yeah,
meant for you in your
applicable.
situation, right?
Yeah,
And then lunchtime comes around, you have a bit of downtime. Then that's where the work is, when you have your downtime, when you
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
reflect back and you do everything that they taught you and you put it into kind of like journaling or occupational therapy, kind of those kind of practices. And
yeah,
it's imperative that people hear this. It's not when you're at the institution that you heal. It's the afterwards when you come out is when
Practice.
the real work starts. And there were some days where it was really rough. I think my blood pressure was spiking so high because I've had so many people visit and arguments, and people, because nobody wants to see you in that kind of light,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
kind of feel like something's wrong. The one day I had, because they also they monitor your brainwave patterns just to see your sleep patterns, and everyone goes to that. They like kind of have this uh, device attached to your head, and it looks like a scene out of 12 Monkeys or something.
something to not to like like say don't come to this place. Actually, it's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
scary.
exactly. But it's
Yeah,
required
yeah,
just because they want to, isolate everything that's wrong with you and make sure that you're okay. So
yeah,
thankfully, there was no issues with it. But I learned so much in that time. I learned just different ways because they teach you how to start thinking critically, cognitively, and
yeah,
start using different ways of thinking, because what you're doing right now is not working. So
yeah,
you need to start reshaping what you do
yeah,
to
yeah,
start now making healthier habits. Hence why I said, okay, coloring is something that we always think is just for kids, but it's so therapeutic. I said, okay, let
yeah,
me try coloring with my non-dominant hand, which is my left hand. So picked up the color and just started moving it. So in that
yeah.
way, new neurological pathways in my brain started to take shape,
Wow.
because now I needed to focus more, right? Because
Yeah,
I'm not so prolific in it. I'm a bit
yeah,
I need to focus. I need to take time with it. I think that's the
yeah,
most important part of it, is take your time, because it's not something that's familiar with you, and you need to be patient with it. Hence
yeah,
why people go through anxiety and depression, because they are not patient with what of the situation they're in. They just want to get it fixed and over with, done in that instance. But you have to be patient. Hence why
yes,
you need to find or do something that's totally out of your comfort zone, so that you are able to take the time to learn it, understand it, and then
yeah,
as practice goes on, you get better at it. It's
yeah.
never going to be perfect, but you begin to learn a little bit of resistance from just taking action before thinking.
But that's so interesting. The exercise of you actually using your non-dominant hand, creating the neural pathways, almost like reframing, rewiring how your brain is
Hmm.
actually activated. That's actually so interesting and powerful because that's something that people right now can actually do,
Hmm.
towards helping. I'm just saying it's a good step. It's
Yeah,
something good. It's something that you can do.
yeah.
And as you're speaking, I'm just looking at the comment section. I see that Sajil Magan is saying, "Yeah,
Mm.
I'm currently in the same situation as what you're mentioning right now." And there's actually, I think a lot of people that maybe won't, would be afraid to actually talk about it. Would get a lot of value from understanding this. Something that I want to really ask you is there's this whole acceptance that must happen before you actually get into the institution. I know you say that you accepted it,
Yeah.
but what was the process for doing that? Because I've seen a lot of people that I know personally as well who, would fight against that. Obviously, it's not something so easy. If somebody tells you, oh, you need to go to a psychologist,
Yeah.
most people I know would say, and have said, no. Shame. I hope my mom is not watching this, but I think she once said, like, psychologists, they just want to know your story. Like, so,
Yeah.
there's like these inquisitive people. And I think, like, when we were growing up, that is actually the attitude towards, doctors who want you to talk about emotions. Because, like I'm mentioning, I grew up in a society where it's not
Yeah.
not so acceptable, right? Not so readily acceptable to talk about.
Mhm.
So, what was that emotional process for you leading up to accepting that, realizing, making myself aware that, hey, I am doing these things wrong. And, I finally now accept that. And this is the next step of what I have to do to get better. How did you go through that?
If I didn't make that decision for myself, I wouldn't be in Canada right now. So, because funny or not, I was leaving for Canada 6 months prior to being institutionalized. A lot of people don't know that.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So there was a lot going on in my life at that time, but knowing coming to Canada was the driving force to get better.
Yeah.
And like you said, yeah, I couldn't wait for things to happen. I had to make them happen. And whether that
Yeah.
was being institutional was one of them, I jumped at the opportunity. A lot of people weren't happy with that I did that, but I did. I did it for myself. not for anybody else. I did it for myself because I needed to save myself from myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And obviously, your family would be very grateful, also, to the healing and the work that you've actually put into this. So,
Mm.
well done. That takes a lot of strength. I mean, I
Thank you.
don't know. Obviously, this is just a conversation of summarizing so many things that have happened in your life, but I think you've actually won at this. You're winning at this. I think you win every day and you win ongoing. But I really am, really happy to see that this can be done. And I think you need to, more people need to hear the message that it can be done. So
Yeah,
if you start,
yeah,
it's not, an exercise that's going to result in failure. I mean, it can, but then you got to keep going. And, if you do that, you could actually turn that situation
yeah.
around. Because I think a lot of people are suffering from that.
Hence why I started the journey as well, because I wanted to show people that it can be done. It's not
Yeah, yeah,
something that it takes a lot of hard work, to be honest.
yeah,
There's a lot of
yeah,
emotions that you need, a lot of inner demons that you have to sit with, a lot
yeah,
of accountability that you need to take upon yourself. Stop blaming the outside world or everything around you and take ownership of what's happening to you right now. Because
yeah,
not
yeah,
nobody's going to do it for you.
yeah. Ownership. That's a powerful word.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not something somebody wants to hear because everybody wants to be held and pulled along, and somebody's going to magically wave a wand. It's not going to be that way. It's going to be very tough, ugly,
yeah,
emotional. Some days you're going to think to yourself, why am I doing this? And then some
yeah,
days you're going to look back and like, hey, all of this was worth it at the end of the day because it's brought me to such a inner peaceful state. That's the word I always use now. It's inner peace.
yeah,
It's it's allowed me also to accept who's in my corner and who's not.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's a very
Absolutely.
difficult thing to accept as well.
And did you feel that a lot of people more or less supported you, or did you find a lot of people walking away? How was that experience?
Yeah, it's very emotional and to think about that because sometimes you feel like the people who are actually supposed to be supporting you aren't supporting you in the way that you want to.
Yeah,
And it takes time to process that, but it also allows you to understand how much of resilience and resistance you have for for moving past that. Because then okay, yes, we all need help. Let's be
yeah,
honest. We all need that love and support. And that's what I was craving, I think, at the time, because I felt really alone. Felt
yeah,
really alone. I felt, what's the purpose of existing and not knowing, okay, if I need something, because I've always been there for other people in a way that no, there was no second thought. If somebody needed help, I was always there, no problem.
yeah,
And I think when I learned that, okay, I can rely on X, Y, and Z, or somebody that's really there for me, I took stock of that, and you keep those kind of relationships alive. And
yeah,
the rest of it, people will come and go in your life. It's okay. No hard feelings to anybody that has been in part of the journey. And I myself have probably been on the other side for other people, right? And that's what also we need to accept, because we also are the aggressors on the other side. We're not just
yeah,
playing the martyr here. We're not just playing the innocent party. I myself probably have been, a bully on the other side, which I have been made aware of. And that's when I had to accept, yes, we are also those kind of people as well to other people on the
yeah,
other side. But it
yeah,
doesn't mean we need to stop being good human beings.
yeah. Absolutely. That's absolutely true. So, how is it, by the way, living in Canada? You made the change to go there, and how has that actually, been incorporated into your life?
Like a fish in water, actually, for me.
Yeah,
Uh, I think it took me about maybe a couple of days to probably assimilate, because I kind of was always wanting to live abroad
yeah,
at some point in my life, because I traveled very young. I think I was 16 when I first traveled to the UK. Thankful, I'm thankful for my mom and dad for making that happen. And I just saw a whole new life, a whole new
yeah,
world, a whole new way of living. And I just thought to myself, someday I wanted to experience living on the other side, just outside of my comfort zone. And when we got the opportunity to come to Canada, we grabbed it with both hands. And I can honestly say it's one of the best decisions we've made for ourselves in terms of how we want to live life. We get the opportunity to, do the simple things that we, grew up doing, like riding a bike or going for a walk
Yeah.
without having somebody behind your shoulder, or constantly checking around what's happening, or if your, material things are okay, kids are safe. Yeah, not every area of Canada is great, but majority of the places that we've been through, we've been very blessed to be able to explore and
Yeah.
learn new cultures, uh, learn new languages for that matter, and converse with people in those languages. So it also like that, it creates new neurological pathways in your brain to think differently and express how you feel in a different way. And we've had ups and downs. We've had relationships break down. We've had a lot of uh, trial moments where we thought to ourselves, okay, I'll be honest with you, my wife did feel like that in the beginning, but I think I was the anchor for both of us, knowing that what we're doing is right for us. Just stick with it. We'll be okay. I was her soundboard because I think it was very difficult for her to assimilate. It took her a while, like 3 years, to probably like fully integrate and accept that this is home. But for me, I think having that person on the other side helps because it's not easy doing this alone. So if
Yeah.
anybody's wanting to do, this journey alone, just note that there will be difficult days where you just need somebody to help to remind you why you're here and
Yeah.
what we're doing. And now that we managed to lock down our citizenship, so we're dual citizens now, and we feel very blessed that we are able to say now we have two passports. And I would never have thought a couple of years ago that that would be possible, but anything is possible if you really put your mind and heart towards it, and just stick with it. Surf the wave. I just say just surf that wave. You're gonna fall many times, but get up and keep going. You're gonna be bruised. You're gonna be battered. You're gonna be knocked down. You're gonna take time. You're gonna have times where you just feel like, why am I doing all of this? And then you come back to your why. Always just come back to your why.
Yeah. There's almost like this thread, this pattern that I pick up with the things that you're saying about how you took the leap of faith. So
Mhm.
at every step you took the leap of faith that a lot of people might be afraid to do. So there's a lot of fear about taking certain actions, and the fear of actually traveling somewhere, fear of taking that job, fear of this and that. And I feel it just comes across strongly that you've surpassed some of those fears in such a big way. And I can only imagine, like, you must have also met people along the way who would have, shared some of these things with you. Maybe it's people that you met, when you were
Mhm.
in institution, stuff like that. I think that we have these grounding elements all around us all the time. And I also wanted to mention, I think you and I have a lot in common. And two things that we have in common is, one, I think you're a gamer like me.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I'm a good Call of Duty
Okay.
player. And
Cool.
then second of all, your fitness journey. I think that that's a really positive thing, positive addition in anybody's life. Could you tell us a little bit more about how your fitness journey started, when it started, and how is that actually helping you along this journey too?
All right. But firstly, my gaming uh, adventure started when I was, Nintendo days, those
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Atari
yeah,
days. That's when it first began. I think I
yeah.
grew up with Atari. I think Atari was the first, and then moved on to a Nintendo. And thankfully, my dad was always, buying us the consoles and having us, playing
Nice.
games and stuff. So I think that's when it started. And also the love of tech. I think I grew up
Yeah,
because of my late uncle, bless his soul, introduced me to the world of tech. And I think the two kind of like meshed together. And I think I just grew with that uh, passion for a long time and just played, I think, PlayStation, PC games, whatever it was. Like, no, if anything is out of interest, I would play it. But more my
yeah.
genre is more related towards RPG, sports games, first person, sometimes first person, but not great at it, but I try at times.
I would
Uh,
really recommend Borderlands. I feel like I'm
yes,
crushing it in
yes.
Borderlands right now.
Okay,
So yeah,
cool.
agree.
a lot of people have told me about that, so I will put it on my list as well. I will give it a show.
Nice.
And in terms of my fitness journey, I think I started when I was 6 months, 6 months old.
Okay.
Uh,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, going that far back, I was always in. I always had a ball with me somewhere along the line, like
Yeah.
moving with the ball, and just it always was intrigued. Something that was, naturally I was born with and gifted with, being an athlete. And I remember as a United fan, my dad, all of us are all United fans, Man United fans. Sorry for the rest of the
Yeah,
world.
me too. Me too. Sorry, guys.
Not the greatest of moments, but yeah, my dad and my grandfather were watching a game, and I think, perched between them, and I had a ball between me. And I think the love for football then, stemmed from there. And ever since then, my fitness journey just, carried on from there. I never stopped running, never stopped just being doing something that would keep my mind and body active. Hence why when I lost that part of my life in that period, I was feeling depressed and sad. You knew something was missing because I've continuously been doing it over and over. Whether it was I played competitive sports, represented state, province, kind of at high levels. So it was always part of me. And when I lost that, then I knew something was wrong. So if anybody is listening and you feel like you are going down that path, just take a step back to feel like, okay, what is one thing I was doing that I'm not doing anymore, that I love doing, that was part of me naturally, that I'm not doing anymore? Then those are the kind of the signs that okay, something is not right.
Yeah. Yeah. If somebody wanted to get in, if they wanted to start that fitness journey, what would you say? How would they go about doing that?
Just start walking, a 5-10 minute walk,
Yeah.
gradually, find things that make you want to move, because not
Yeah.
everything is for you as well. Yeah, not everything will resonate with you. Try different things, see if it works. If it doesn't, try something else. Not everyone's going to lift weights, not everyone is going to be super athletes, and but
To try
just
different things.
exactly, just try something that would get your motor neurons moving, and because later on in life you'll thank yourself for doing so,
Yeah.
because the goal now is just to make sure that later on in life we're able to just get up from our chair or lift a
Yeah.
spoon to feed ourselves, to bathe ourselves, just to be
Yeah.
able to function independently until,
Yeah.
to a certain extent. Life has other plans, but that's the kind of the goal that I am advocating for myself and, for my family. And just get going, just move, because we've seen our parents and our grandparents, or other older family members really struggle later on in life. So that's
Yeah.
the motivation that I would say now is just move, get up and go outside. Even if you just walk in your grass barefoot, it's movement.
Yeah.
Do something that's going to be like, hey, I moved today. And then
Yeah.
you do that every single day, it becomes a habit.
Yeah. I like these little polls you put on Instagram and all that ask people like, have you actually done it? And yeah, I sometimes I put those up myself, and I feel very surprised at the answers. You think like it's going to be a yes or no, but it varies. It's sometimes like I just don't feel like it today, or like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
good
yeah.
to get people's opinions about exactly what they feel like doing, even if they do it consistently.
Yeah, it's about just
But
planting that seed, right?
planting the seed, yeah, and
Yeah,
and reminding people that listen, hey, we're all in this together.
yeah,
It's like you mentioned, at the institution where people needed to go and do the walk or the exercise activity together, and that togetherness is very powerful. So sometimes, even though I like gymming alone, but I'm not alone in the gym, so it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
all the people around there, just by the fact that I can see them doing it, is motivating and being a part of that experience. So
100%.
yeah, it feels like a unified thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It gets lonely at
So
times, but yeah, it's you keep going, you keep coming back to your why, end of the day.
exactly, I agree with that. Yeah. So I had so many more questions for you, but I'm just looking at the time, and I think we're probably going to have to end our live pretty soon. But I just want to say I want to thank you so much for just inspiring people. looking at your YouTube channel, I actually feel like you've done so much work on it. First of all, it looks great, but
Thank you.
then second of all, it's just the ability for you to reach out and connect with so many people is a skill, and it's an action. It's a worthy action in and of itself, and I think it's just not done enough. People are not reaching out enough, but
Right.
you are reaching out to people, you are getting their story, you are telling their story, you are having their stories heard. And I really hope we can do more of this sort of stuff, because I think it's important for people to see. And just thank you so much, for sharing your story with me and with everybody else. We should definitely put this recording up so
For
that
sure.
people can watch this. Yeah, because I
Yes,
think
definitely.
yeah, it's very, very helpful and very inspiring. So
Thank you.
thank you for doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, I don't just show up for myself. I do it for you. And that's why my last post was. That's why I mentioned I don't. Yes, it's for me as well, but it's more also for you guys
Yeah.
as well to help
Yeah.
you along and just try and just try and get you into a good place where you feel okay. I can just now pay it forward to somebody else.
Perfect. Yeah, that's wonderful. So, I just, for the viewers that are online, I just want to say, I would love to encourage you to follow, like, share Kishen and his story. And he has a lot of people that he has already been interviewing. He's going to interview more people in the
Mhm.
future as well. I really think that it's worthwhile checking out his channel, subscribing, sharing that with people. If you find somebody who really needs to understand some of the topics that he's talking about, go ahead and do that. And yeah, but thank you all for coming. But thank you all for watching. And most importantly, thank you, Kishen, for hosting this. And yeah, I want you
You're
to just
welcome.
keep on doing it.
Thank you so much for inviting me and providing this opportunity. I jumped at it when I saw it, and I think, yeah, what's the worst what's the harm that can come from it? Nothing. So that's the message today. Is just try something. You never know what could stem from it. And yes, guys, also follow Akashni and follow her journey. I think she's doing amazingly well for all of us as well. It's also motivating for me to see you as well, and just your brand, and support her online store now as well. And yeah, I think that's the beauty about all of this. It's before we go, it's just about the community that's now starting to manifest, I think, around the world. I think
Yeah,
we're going back towards the days where we having conversations and we're having human interactions instead of just sitting within our screens and trying to
yeah,
doom scroll and just
yeah.
consume content that's not good for us. But I think it's a good thing that you're doing, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think I'm such I'm such an adversary of the doom scrolling crowd, of the trolling people.
No,
I think we
guilty,
got to put
guilty as
some.
charged as well.
We just got to get better stuff out there, and that's what's important. So if
Yeah,
you're following, it's a brand, and whatever the case is, only
yeah,
because it is larger than the human themselves. It's something I feel that people can take away with them. But I think the
correct.
principle is the same: is that we want to help people, and I think that people, want to have good content that they can
Yeah,
use.
100%.
Yeah,
No, thank you,
awesome.
Akashni. I appreciate it.
Hope you have a fantastic Friday. Yeah, and we shall chat. We shall chat
Yes, yes,
again.
we will be in touch. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay zen. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.